You may have heard that your brain finishes developing by the time you're 25. And although that sounds reassuringly precise, human development doesn't follow a deadline, and certainly not a birthday deadline. Hi everyone, I'm Sam, and welcome back to Mental Health Monday. Throughout August, we've been exploring what we like to call the Odyssey period of your life. Now, the Odyssey period is a time when adulthood feels less like arriving at a destination and more like learning to travel without a complete map. Today, let's look at what's happening in your brain throughout this journey. Firstly, contrary to popular belief, turning 25 doesn't mean that your brain is finally finished. Different parts of your brain, and therefore different abilities and skills, all follow different timelines. For example, some aspects of your executive function, the skills involved in planning and impulse control and focusing and concentration, they've almost fully developed by your late teens or your early 20s. And throughout our life, our experience can influence how strongly we use and maintain these neural pathways. In other words, your brain isn't incomplete before you're 25, and nor is it fixed afterwards. What this means for your 20s is that it's an important period of learning because life is asking you to combine familiar knowledge in unfamiliar ways. For example, perhaps you already know how to cook, but now cooking also involves planning around your work or your study. It involves managing your money. It involves sharing a kitchen. Maybe it also involves reflecting on how different foods make you feel and what makes you feel the healthiest. Another example, perhaps you are somebody who is good at making friends, but moving to a new city or a new workplace may ask you to build relationships without the familiar structure of a family life or school. These experiences do more than teach you practical skills. They also shape the way you understand yourself. You may begin asking questions like, what matters to me when the decision is all mine? Or which relationships feel supportive? Or what kind of life is reflective of my personal values rather than just meeting other people's expectations? Now, this doesn't mean that every uncertain feeling you have in your 20s is caused by your developing brain. Maybe your culture, society, finances, relationships, health, opportunity, all of these other things matter too. It also doesn't mean that everyone becomes settled at the same age. Some people find stability early, others change direction many times. Neither path automatically means that something has gone wrong. Maybe a more helpful way to think about your 20s is this: your brain remains capable of change, whilst your life is giving you new information about who you are and how you want to live. You may have heard that your brain finishes developing by the time you're 25, and although that sounds reassuringly precise, human development doesn't follow a deadline, and certainly not a birthday deadline. So if this stage of your life feels unfinished, it might be because you're still living it, and not because you failed to become an adult by the deadline. Next week on Mental Health Monday, we'll talk about some practical ways to care for yourself during your Odyssey period. But until then, it might be worth trying to replace the thought of, I should have figured this out by now, with a more gentle question of, what am I learning about myself from this part of my journey?